Imagine a fighter jet that doesn't dogfight, doesn't need tankers, doesn't even enter the battle space, because 20 autonomous drones fly in first, 100 kilometers ahead, while the pilot watches from standoff range like a chess player moving pieces on a board. Now imagine that same aircraft carries a 100 kilowatt laser that melts incoming missile seekers in 3 seconds. Forever, for as long as the engine runs. No ammunition limit, no countermeasure, no saturation threshold. Now imagine it flies 1,850 kilometers on internal fuel alone, nearly twice the combat radius of an F-35, which means it can launch from Guam, loiter over the Taiwan Strait for 2 hours, fight a full engagement, and return without ever meeting a tanker. Not in theory, not on paper. In a fixed-price $20 billion production contract awarded last month to Boeing, with the first operational squadron scheduled for 2028. This is the F-47, and almost everything you're hearing about it is wrong. Buried on page 1417 of the $1.5 trillion US defense budget was a single line. Boeing, fixed price contract, $20 billion, full rate production of the F-47, the first true 6th generation fighter to enter service anywhere on the planet. This is not a technology demonstrator. This is not a prototype. This is not the X-plane phase where they test whether the thing can fly. This is production. First operational squadrons active in 2028. That is 24 months from now. For context, the F-35 program took 20 years from contract award to operational capability. The F-22 took 15 years. The F-47 is compressing that timeline to roughly 7 and pulling every acquisition trick in the book to get it done 3 years ahead of the original schedule. Why the urgency? That question matters more than any single spec, because the answer explains not just what the F-47 is, but why the Pentagon ran the math on a Taiwan Strait scenario in 2022 and concluded that without it, they would lose. Let's start with the single component that makes everything else possible: the engine. For 70 years, every jet engine ever built was a fundamental compromise. You designed it either for speed or for range, high thrust or fuel efficiency. You could never have both in the same engine. It's a physics problem. The bypass ratio that gives you efficiency at cruise works against you at supersonic speeds, and vice versa. The F-47's adaptive cycle 3-stream engine solves this by changing its internal geometry in flight. At supersonic speeds, it routes airflow one way, maximizing thrust, pushing the aircraft past Mach 2.5. In cruise, it reconfigures, routing airflow through a third bypass stream that delivers 25% better fuel efficiency than any fighter engine ever fielded. The number that matters: 1,850 kilometers. That's the F-47's unrefueled combat radius. For comparison, the F-22 flies 940 kilometers. The F-35C, the longest-legged variant, flies 960. The F-47 flies 69% further than the best operational fighter on the planet. One number, one engine, one program. And it has already invalidated approximately $1 trillion in Chinese military investment. For 2 decades, China's entire anti-access/area denial strategy was built around a single rock-solid assumption: American fighter jets cannot reach Taiwan from Guam. They cannot reach the South China Sea from Japan. They must rendezvous with tanker aircraft mid-Pacific, and those tankers are slow, unstealthy, and undefended. The DF-21D carrier killer missile, the DF-26, the thousands of shore-based air defense batteries, the entire concept of the first island chain as a kill zone. Every piece of that trillion-dollar system was designed to shoot down tankers and force American fighters to run out of fuel before they reached the fight. The F-47 can take off from Andersen Air Force Base on Guam, fly 1,850 kilometers to the Taiwan Strait, loiter for 2 hours, fight a full engagement, and fly 1,850 kilometers back. It never needs to see a tanker. There is no vulnerable link to attack. That single number, 1,850, has just made 20 years of Chinese military planning obsolete. The adaptive cycle engine generates approximately twice the electrical power of any fighter engine currently flying. That is not for air conditioning or avionics. It's for a 100 kilowatt class defensive laser. Right now, if a surface-to-air missile or an air-to-air missile is fired at a fighter jet, you have 3 options: run, dodge, or fire a counter missile. All 3 can fail. Counter missiles can be spoofed. Dodging requires enough energy and warning time. Running only works if you're faster, and hypersonic missiles are faster. The F-47 does none of those things. It detects the incoming missile, trains a 100 kilowatt infrared laser on the seeker head, and melts the guidance sensor in approximately 3 seconds. The missile continues flying, but it's blind. It cannot track. It cannot adjust course. It falls. Shoot down a CCA? No pilot dies. No rescue mission required. Each drone costs approximately $2 million to build. You can field 50 of them for the price of one F-35. Lose 10 in a mission and the math still works, because the pilot comes home. This is not an incremental improvement. This is the end of 100 years of manned fighter combat. For a century, air combat has been defined by pilots in cockpits making split-second decisions within visual range or just beyond it. The F-47 changes the equation structurally. The human never enters the danger zone. The human sits outside the engagement envelope and manages disposable robots that absorb the risk. And very soon, if you follow the trajectory, even that human becomes optional. The CCA software architecture is already designed to operate autonomously. The human is there for the command decision, not for the flying. Of course, there are competitors. China has displayed two 6th-generation prototypes, the J-36 and the J-50. Both share the same tailless, all-aspects stealth design language as the F-47. Same general shape, same apparent philosophy. If you only read the headlines, you'd conclude the race is even. It is not. The J-36 and J-50 are powered by the WS-15 engine, the same power plant that drives China's J-20 5th-generation fighter. The WS-15 is an excellent engine. It is competitive with the F-119 engine that powers the F-22. It is a genuine achievement in material science, turbine design, and manufacturing. But it is a 5th-generation engine. It does not have an adaptive cycle. It cannot reconfigure in flight. It generates significantly less electrical power, not enough to run a combat laser, and it has an enormous infrared heat signature, detectable from 300 kilometers away by modern IRST sensors. The J-36 is a 6th-generation airframe bolted onto a 5th-generation engine. It looks like an F-47. It is not an F-47. The difference is not cosmetic, it is industrial. Adaptive cycle engines require single crystal turbine blades that can withstand temperatures exceeding 1,700 degrees Celsius, metallurgy that China has not yet demonstrated at production scale. It requires software to manage a variable cycle combustion process in real time, thousands of adjustments per second, that exists only in 2 engine programs on the planet, both American. China will close this gap. They have the resources, the talent pipeline, and the strategic motivation. But right now, in June 2026, the gap is real, and it is measured in years, not months. Let's talk about the contract structure because it reveals more than any spec sheet. Boeing was awarded a fixed-price contract, not cost-plus, fixed price. In defense procurement, cost-plus contracts are the norm for new platforms. The government pays for development costs plus a guaranteed profit margin. The contractor has no incentive to control costs, and historically, does not. The F-35 program is the textbook example. $1.7 trillion lifetime cost, repeated overruns, a program that became a procurement cautionary tale. A fixed-price contract is the opposite. Boeing eats any cost overruns. If the F-47 costs more to build than the contract specifies, Boeing pays the difference. Why would Boeing accept that risk? And why would the Pentagon push it? The answer is both industrial and strategic. The industrial answer: Boeing needs this program. After the 737 MAX crisis, the Starliner failure, and years of losing fighter competitions to Lockheed Martin, Boeing's defense division was in danger of atrophy. They bid aggressively to win, and accepted risk Lockheed wouldn't touch. The strategic answer is more sobering. The Pentagon insisted on fixed price because they need these aircraft in service by 2028, and they need predictable costs to scale production quickly. This is not peacetime procurement. This is urgency disguised as acquisition reform. At peak, the US was building 200 F-35s per year. The F-47 production rate is classified, but the contract structure and the 2028 operational deadline suggest something in the range of 48 to 72 aircraft per year initially. That is a fraction of the F-35's peak. The message is clear. The F-47 is not intended to replace the F-35 one for one. It is intended to do what the F-35 and F-22 cannot, and do it in small numbers at high cost in the specific theaters where the tanker dependency is a fatal vulnerability. There are two completely opposite ways to read the F-47 program. Both are correct. Reading 1. This is the single greatest military technical advantage any nation has held over its rivals at any point in modern history. A 15-year gap. An aircraft that can operate with impunity anywhere on the planet, protected by a laser that cannot be saturated, commanding drones that absorb all the risk. In a theater it can reach without tanker support. This is absolute deterrence. No nation will willingly start a major conventional war knowing the F-47 exists on the other side of the equation. Reading 2. This is not confidence, this is fear. The F-47 program was accelerated by 3 full years. The contract was awarded without open competition. The Pentagon deployed every operational 5th-generation fighter it owns to the Middle East and ran them until their airframes hit inspection thresholds because the old platforms are no longer sufficient. The gap closed faster than the Pentagon expected. The F-47 is not a luxury, it is an emergency. Both readings are true, simultaneously, and both tell you something essential about where the balance of conventional military power actually stands in June 2026. The F-47 is not just another fighter, it is the end of an era. 100 years of fighter pilots dueling in the sky. That chapter closes when this aircraft enters service. What replaces it? One pilot commanding 20 robots from beyond visual range, protected by a laser wall, is something no doctrine has fully accounted for, and almost nobody is talking about it. This is DIB Dispatch, where billion-dollar projects meet battlefield reality.